Good evening to you, snooker fans and snooker world. This is Facebook Live with the 15 Reg podcast with me, Graham Drayton, live here in Burton-on-Trent on the 6th of April 2021, just gone 7 o'clock. And I'm joined on the same time level, on the same time went, as in Ireland with Scott MacArthur. Good evening, Scott. How are you?
Very good evening, Graham. Okay. Having recovered from this morning's rather exhausting exertions, but nonetheless, I'm well.
Good. Mike's other duties, I think he's busy today, so I think he's got some errands to run. So we'll carry on regardless. Now, talking about the World Championship qualifiers, just to say, by the way, Ronnie was on earlier on Facebook Live, and there's nothing too much inspiring there, nothing to what people expected.
No, he's not retiring, don't worry.
No, he's not. He said that. He said, calm down, I'm not retiring. But he's launching clothing and beer brands and up through the rocket.
Yeah, which I think they're the company that sponsors the seniors, you see.
Okay, yeah. But he's not really, as we were saying the other day, just saying about this debate that me and Mike had. Ronnie is definitely, you said in the comments that Ronnie is definitely not an ambassador for the sport. Do you stick by that?
Of course I do.
Okay.
And I say that as someone from Northern Ireland. I mean, people often make the comparison between Ronnie and Alex. Alex wasn't an ambassador either. Sure, Alex used to do nothing but assault the officials.
Yeah, he did. But on the table, fantastic. They were brilliant on the table. But Ronnie is as well. But like you say, off the table, the stuff he says, the way he says
Shut up.
Yeah, the attitude he's got, terrible. But talking about ambassadors for the sport, Jimmy White and Stephen Hendry last night.
Yes, I don't mean to spoil everyone's enjoyment of the game, but I think we hyped that a little bit too much. We expected a little bit too much there. Now, to be fair, Hendry did produce one moment of brilliance with a 66 clearance, but was it really going to be as good as all the hype?
No, I think that clearance was absolutely fantastic.
It was.
From what Hendry, he's not been on the, he's not been in match situations or conditions for a good 8-9 years, and he comes out and produces that. And Jimmy's been on the tour for a long. Now he's dropped off the tour because of that, and Hendry's done him over again, Scott.
Oh dear.
But when you was watching it, what was your thoughts on it in general, the general overview?
To be perfectly honest, I didn't expect much, and it didn't really deliver very much.
No. I thought, like I say, I thought Hendry was the better player, though. I thought he did outclass White a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good win for Hendry because that's his first win back for, good nine years, isn't it?
Yeah, but I know I'm going to incur a lot of snooker fans' wrath here, but is it time for Jimmy to hang up with Q?
Whew, that's a bold statement. I can see where you're coming from, but I don't think he will just yet.
No, not yet. But
he's still got the dream of winning the world championship. He's still got it in his head. He still wants to do it.
I think if he qualifies one more time, give him one more sort of. But bear in mind, he's not qualified since 2006.
No, I feel that was a chance miss, really. I feel like he should have gone on. He was, at one point, 1-1. He went 2-1 down, but he got the first frame, and really he should have gone on from there.
Yeah.
But
bit of a missed opportunity, I think that.
I do feel like he's missed something there. But Hendry now goes on to play Zhai Zi.
Yes, UC of China.
That's it.
Tomorrow evening, that is, actually. And
well, I think Hendon said Dave Hendon said that I think whoever goes through will struggle.
Yeah.
And I think that's right. Do you agree with that, Scott?
I do indeed. Mark Robert Wilcox has just said, yes, it's time for Jimmy to retire.
There you go. You start.
Look, we all love Jimmy White. As I said earlier, as I rather stupidly compared him to Her Majesty the Queen, because, nobody says a bad word about Jimmy on the tour, but
I do get where, like I say, I do get where you're coming from, but not yet, not quite yet, not quite. I think he's got a couple of seasons left in him, and then he'll turn to pool. I think he'll just go on to pool and then probably go into coaching.
Yeah, well,
that's where
he's
Jimmy's
a good commentator. He's a very good analyst for Eurosport. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't think he's as good as Angles though.
No, certainly not. Nobody's as good as Angles.
But he's, I think he'll turn possibly into coaching and the pool, because he's a good pool player as well. Moving on to today's results. You watched a painful match earlier on.
4 hours of my life I surrendered to that.
I just want to tell you, Scott, it hasn't finished yet.
I know.
It might be another 2 hours tonight.
Well, thankfully, I'll be in bed by 9:30, so...
Lee Walker and Ken Doherty we're referring to. Lee Walker currently leads 5-4 as Ken was 4-1 up.
Yes. And let me tell you, to be fair, Lee Walker didn't turn up at 4, wasn't there at 4-1. But at the same time, Ken wasn't playing very well either.
I'm very surprised to see that Ken is 5-4 down, to be honest.
Yeah, well, look, I met Ken when I was there in 2012. And,
yeah, I met Ken as well.
He's from the Republic of Ireland. I'm from Northern Ireland. I was able to talk to him about his career, and Ken's a salt of the earth guy, but look, I don't think Ken should retire. I think he can win this match. But I'm saying, look, I think if he gets to the Crucible one more time, I think.
I'd like to see the old hands get there again. Doherty, White, Hendry. I'd love to see that. It'd be brilliant.
Yeah,
it would be absolutely brilliant for the game. Of course it would. And other games tonight.
Rebecca Cannon starts tonight.
Yeah, against Brandon Sargent, of course.
Yeah.
Peter Lines is currently 4-3 down to Mark Lloyd.
They probably won't get pulled off because that's not on the TV table.
Yeah. And Peter Lines is currently at the table with that one, 54-17 up. So it could be going 4-4.
I don't think they can meet. Actually,
it is 4-4. It is 4-4 now.
Yeah, but actually, they could meet the two of them in the best of 19 to qualify for the Crucible.
It could, yeah.
That would be horrible for them.
Yeah, I think it would. Who do you think could come through?
Probably Oliver on the evidence of the first round. 3 centuries and 90 and a 70. What?
Wow. That's pretty good.
Right up, he's got a wily old character in the next round. He's got Dominic Deal.
Oh, dear me. Yes. And I was just going to say that Lee Walker and Ken Doherty, if they get through, if one of them gets through, they'll be playing Nigel Bond for.
Oh dear, another marathon. Oh dear.
Another 5 hours of your life, Scott, I think.
Yeah. The pains of being a snooker fan, but no, in a perverse way, it was sort of enjoyable.
Yeah. Because obviously Ken's one of your guys, isn't he?
Yeah.
home turf there. By the way,
Oh,
Rory McLeod leads 5-4 over a choice key. And the
so,
choice is at the table now, 28 points up.
so hopefully there's not too much longer to go in that one either.
Yeah, Rebecca Kennett has just started against Brandon Sargent, and Alan Taylor has started against Bai Lang Ning.
Oh, and the winner of the Taylor Lang Ning match will play Angles McManus.
Yeah. Oh, come on, McManus.
Now, right. I don't express many ambitions for this podcast. I leave the ambitions to you and Mike normally. But my one ambition is to get Angles on here.
Yeah, that would be brilliant. I'd love Angles to come on.
Can you imagine Angles and me?
Well, what we should do possibly, if we could get Alan McManus, you, and Kelly Barker in one episode. Wow.
And Foldsy as well.
And Foldsy and Clive Everton.
Well, we'll not get Clive, but...
Or Phil Yates, of course.
Oh, we have to get Phil after Sheffield. That will be good.
Yeah, that would be...
Speaking of guests and things, did you hear the latest episode of the Talking Snooker podcast?
I didn't, but I know that Foldsy was on about that last night.
Because we got mentioned.
Did we?
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and hear that. That was on Eurosport in the Hendry game. I heard him talking about something.
Yeah, because what happened was I emailed them.
Right.
And sort of introduced myself as the host of the co-host of the 15 Red podcast, and they mentioned that they'd listened to some of our stuff. So,
oh, that's lovely. Hello, guys.
Yeah.
I know they might not be listening right now, but Hendon, Foldsy, Yates, Joe Johnson, all that crew. Hello.
Yeah. Hello, Steve.
And Phil Seymour, of course.
Yeah. Oh, yes, of course.
Because Phil Seymour, I've been in touch with him, and hopefully he'll be one of our guests.
Post Sheffield, probably.
Yeah, that'll be brilliant. That'll be absolutely fantastic. I'll have to listen back onto that one, Scott.
Yeah.
And see where I remember Foldsy saying something. I do remember that, but I don't, because he was mentioning a podcast, and I listened in because I was trying to, me and my missus were doing something. I thought, did he just mention us then? But yeah, because I had it on the side. But yeah, wow. Okay, I'll go back and have a listen to that and try and get the audio and try and record it and put it onto our link somewhere. That'd be brilliant.
But anyway, shall we transport ourselves into the time machine?
Yeah, I think we should, and go back to 2010.
Indeed.
World Championship 2010 to 2012 we're going tonight.
Yes.
And you wanted me to count, Scott, the number of final frame deciders in this tournament.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a moment.
Okay.
We'll start off with Graham Dott's route.
Yep.
Because he was the runner-up, and by the very strange rules that we've made up, we start with a runner-up for some reason, but nonetheless.
I don't know why. Talking about that, just before you go through his route, Graham Dott. Yeah, I heard you and Mike discussing that he put his fist in the pocket when the cue ball was going down.
Yeah, that was last night. Yeah,
hey,
that was the previous year, actually.
I remember that happening.
First round, a repeat of the final in 2006 in the first round.
Yeah.
So you had Dott and Ebden, Dott winning 10-5. Dott was actually a qualifier this year, actually.
Okay.
And then in round 2, you had Dott defeating Stephen Maguire 13 frames to 6, it was 13-6.
Yep.
And then in the quarters, Mark Allen, 13-12.
He beat your man.
He did. Oh dear.
Did
Mark Allen, 13-12. And then in the semis, Selby, 17-14. And in the final, he lost to Robertson.
Okay.
Calvin Plattern says, "Hi, lads."
Oh, hello to Kelvin. Yeah, he's a regular watcher of our podcast.
A regular viewer of our musings, as it were.
He is. And Neil Robertson.
Well, Fergal O'Brien.
Yeah.
Let's just see what the score was there. Let's see. Fergal O'Brien, 10-9. Heavens above. That's one of them.
I've got 10-5 here.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm misreading the match next to it. Yeah, 10-5, you're quite right.
Yeah.
And then in the second round, Martin Gould, 13-12. We'll get to that in a moment.
Martin Gould.
No, but we all know what happened in that.
Yeah, carry on.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's okay, carry on.
Michael Hager has just commented, Duff had to qualify having been world champion only 4 years previously. Yes, I think that is some sort of record. It's the shortest time that somebody's had to qualify after winning it.
Ah, right, yeah. That's something. So, had to qualify having been world champion. Wow. No, I don't think anyone's ever done that.
Well, Bingham will have to do it this year.
I think he does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But that's 6 years after he won it.
Yeah. So. Yeah, you're right. You're definitely right, Michael. There. We'll have to get him on as a guest, but nonetheless.
Michael, I'm going to try and arrange with you, Michael, next week sometime. Just before the World Champ, so we can do that.
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, he beat Martin Gould.
Martin Gould, 13-12. We'll get to that in a moment. And then Steve Davis, 13-5. Now, we'll get to Davis in a moment, of course.
Yeah.
Fear not, we will get there.
Drumming
and then in the semis, Ali Carter in the semis, 17-13. Session scores in the final.
17-12.
17-12, sorry, I missed. My eyesight's going here. It's watching Doherty and Walker all day.
Okay. So
5-3 Dot.
Yeah.
9-7 Robertson. 12-10 Robertson, and he won 18-13.
Yeah. First title, of course, for Neil.
Yeah. First and so far only.
Yeah. That is amazing how he hasn't won it again, though.
There are two truly amazing statistics in snooker. One, that Matthew Stevens has only won one ranking event, and the other is that Neil Robertson has only won one world title. Yeah,
it's amazing facts. They are really stunning. But I'm just looking at Graham Dott's run there. I mean, he beat players like Peter Ebdon, Stephen Maguire, Mark Allen, and Mark Selby. What a great run that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an incredible run. Say he was qualifying as well.
Yeah. And then we've got to talk about Steve Davis.
Oh, that was an amazing year when he beat Higgins. That was absolutely fantastic. 52 years old at the time.
Yes, the the oldest quarter finalist since, and Michael can help me out here, but I think Fred Davis in '78.
Well, actually, it was Eddie Charlton in '83.
Dear me.
Yeah, Eddie Charlton was 53 in 1983 when he reached the quarterfinals.
Yeah, dear me, 52.
And
but
Steve Davis had to qualify as well.
He did.
Yeah.
It was, and of course, what else significant in Steve Davis's career? What anniversary was marked in 2010?
The 1985 final, of course.
Was 25 years.
Yeah, and they came out and did the rematch. Steve Davis had that big wig on, and Dennis, when he come out, Dennis with them big glasses.
Wonderful stuff. Wonderful.
And then, of course, Davis said, "Surely the miss rule doesn't apply." That was a perfectly good shot back then.
And the referee, when they broke off, said, "Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, the first frame." And Dennis Taylor said, "What are you in the first frame? We just played 34 frames here."
It's the only frame.
Yeah. And by the way, if you're not picking about that, actually, Dennis broke off and it should have been Steve.
Correct. Yeah, that's another thing that I noticed.
Calvin Plattern says, "I was there then cheering Davis on. I had a Nugget t-shirt on."
He said, "Obviously, I was really pleased for Dennis, but we're not here to talk about
that." Yeah, but I mean, the match against John Higgins in the proper World Championship was
fabulous. That was fabulous. Super. Absolutely brilliant. And the way that he beat Higgins on that double brown.
Yeah. Oh, it was tremendous.
Even you as a Higgins fan, you had to give it to Davis then.
Oh, it was just superb. It was the first real. This is the first World Championship. For example, this final is the first one I stayed up late for. This World Championship is the first one that I have properly vivid memories of,
Yeah.
And this is the first sort of significant crucible moment that I can sort of recall, because John was the defending champion, having beaten Murphy in the previous year's final. Steve was just unbelievable. I'll give you the session scores in that second round match. I have them here. Davis led 6-2 after the first.
Wow. Yeah.
Then John got it back to 9-7 Davis. There's something rather familiar about that scoreline after 2 sessions, but nonetheless. And then he wins at 13-11. It was super. It really was.
It was one of them moments at the Crucible, wasn't it? It was just incredible. And I think that was, like Willie Thorne said at the time, Steve Davis's best win, one of the best wins of his career.
Yeah, individual match wins, yes.
Yeah. Wow, it was fantastic. And also debutants then were Tom Ford. He debuted there. Zhang Andra.
Yep.
And Ford played against Mark Allen and lost, and Zhang played against Stephen Hendry and lost 10-4 and 9-10. Now then, talking about Scott, final frame deciders. There was quite a few there. There was 1, 2 in the first round.
Including Steve, I think. Didn't he have a final frame against Mark King?
He did, 10-9 against Mark King, yeah. He did. And then there was 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 4 in round 1 alone.
Yeah.
And then in second round, we had Robertson Gould, 13-12.
We'll get there.
Yeah. And that was just the second round. But I will say this, in the first round, Davis King 10-9. We had Gould Fu 10-9. Good grief. There was Stephen Hendry and Adan 10-9.
Mm.
So yeah, coming to that match in a minute, that Gould and Robertson won.
Well, like Gould played like a demon for most of that. He was brilliant. He was 11-5 up after 2 sessions.
And 6-0 at what? He was 6-0 after the first.
Yeah, well, 6-2 it would have been.
Okay. Well, it says Robertson came back from 6-0 down.
Yeah, because he was 6-2 after the first, because obviously 6-0, and then he won the last 2 of the session.
Right, yeah. And then 11-5 to Gould, and then the last deciding frame, Robertson come back. That's amazing, isn't it?
That was so. Actually, Robertson had checked out of his hotel at 11-5 down.
Well, you would do, wouldn't you? And then you come back and win. What, you done 8, so you win 8-1.
Dear me.
That's incredible. That is incredible.
And Martin Gould was being interviewed by Dave Hendon on Dave's podcast, and he said that, the reason I collapsed was I'd never been 11-5 up in the World Championship before. Gould had never got past the first round before that.
Yeah, he didn't know how to react, I don't think.
No.
That's right. Yeah, Mark Wilcox says Steve rolled back the years. That result, yeah. And Davis is my all-time favourite player, and Ronnie, along with Ronnie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 good choices there.
So,
but Graham, before we move on to 2011, and we will get there eventually. I know we're labouring quite a bit on 2010, but
it was a great tournament.
It was, wow. But it just shows the glorious drama of this multi-session format at the Crucible, that you can be 11-5 up.
Absolutely. And that adds to the drama, and I think that's fantastic for the Crucible. That's why we love it so much, the World Championships, because that's why with these longer matches, anything can happen. Anything can go on.
I mean, would Steve have beaten John over a best of 7? Probably not.
Probably not. But that's why it's so great. That's why it's so beautiful, the World Championships.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's great.
It's also the best tournament we have.
It is, without a doubt. No doubt about that. Quarterfinals, Ali Carter and Sean Murphy went to 13-12. Graham Dott beat Mark Allen 13-12. Mark Selby beat Ronnie O'Sullivan 13-11 that year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's all your final frame deciders. The money was $250,000 for the winner. Yeah. $125,000 for your runner-up.
That was Dolly.
Yeah, and the highest centuries in that tournament, we had 60 that year.
60, yeah.
60 straight, and we had a 146 from Mark Allen and Graham
Dott. I remember that.
Yeah, two massive 146s there.
And by the way, those were the first 146s at the Crucible.
Were they? Wow.
Yeah, okay. because bear in mind, what are you doing when you make 146? You're taking 15 reds, 14 blacks, and 1 pink with all the colours.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know it was the first one. I didn't know the first one though at the Crucible.
Although if I'm right, they did take their pinks at different stages.
Yeah, but it is still still the same break, and yeah, and they made a share and a good share of with 147 stage 2 maximum break. That is, sorry, £10,000. So they got £5,000 each.
£5,000 each.
So that's a nice little pocket.
Yeah. Now then.
Right. Moving on to what was that there? Oh yeah. Before the start of the final, it was announced that. Do you remember this? That
yes, John, and the whole match fixing thing. Yes.
Yeah, it was in that tournament, and then the year after, I think the year after, somebody shouted out in the crowd, "How much you have on this match, John?" or something. Oh,
do we have to go down that road?
No, we won't. We won't. We'll bypass that. But we're on to 2011 now, Scott.
Yes, John Trump's great breakthrough. Do you remember that?
Yeah, he got all the way to the final, of course.
Yeah, hard to believe that's a full decade ago now.
It is hard to believe.
And his hair was like something out of Westlife.
Dear me. Oh, leave me alone. Anyway, Judd's news.
Right. And it all started, funny enough, on the opening day. Because who was Judd Trump drawn against but Neil Robertson? Neil Robertson's the defending champion, so he comes out first thing on the Saturday morning. And he loses 10-8.
Yeah, the first round curse strikes again.
It does. It did. Michael Hager's just put something in there. I seem to recall that there was almost a whitewash in 2011. Sean Murphy was 9-0 up on someone in round 1. Okay.
Let's find out who it was. Okay. It was a Scotsman. That's your clue.
Wasn't Stephen, was it?
No.
Graham?
No. Marcus Campbell.
Oh, good griefs.
Do you remember him?
Yes, that was superb.
So Sean Murphy nearly did that to beat him 10-1, and Ronnie beat Dominic Dale 10-2.
He did.
We also had another 10-1.
Back to John.
Okay.
John, then he beat Martin Gould 13-6. Where Gould? Then in the quarters, Trump beat Doth 13-5.
Now that was a bit of a shocker, because Graham Dock the year before had a fantastic run.
He did. Now bear in mind that Trump was in good form, because although he was a qualifier, he had won the China Open at the start of the month of April.
Mm-hmm.
And I posted his career stats on the page because it was the 10th anniversary there a few days ago.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then in the semis against Ding, now this was superb. I remember this match, and it was brilliant.
The semi-final, yes, 17-15.
Yeah, tremendous.
Wow. Well, that's when Ding was a slightly better player than he is now, of course.
Yes, of course.
I don't think that he'd live up to Trump now.
No, of course he wouldn't. But nonetheless, 18-15 in the final, despite Trump being 10-7 overnight.
Oh, yeah. Maybe he got a little bit of pressure there and thought, oh, I'm 10 seconds, oh, I'm going on my way to win this, and then suddenly crumbled.
You know what it was, don't you?
What?
The youngster couldn't play a blooming safety shot.
Well, that's another thing, isn't it? He just went for long pots. That's exactly right. But of course, Higgins. Well, we all know what Higgins is like. You know,
right.
the grinder man.
John will bury you alive if you start taking liberties with him.
Exactly. But that's what Mike asked me last night. Who is the best long potter in the game for you? And I said Judd Trump straight away. And going back to that final, when he was taking on the long pots and stuff, and Higgins did exactly what he did to O'Sullivan in respect at the Players' Championship.
He did. He buried him.
Did.
Anyway, John's route.
Yeah.
Where is it? Let's see. Have you got John's route there?
Yeah.
Yes. Stephen Lee 10-5. Will not. Yeah.
No, let's say about him.
Then in the second round,
Rory McLeod
13-7.
Wow. Rory, by the way, is 5-all, just to tell you his score at the minute with the choice gig, seeing as though we're mentioning McLeod.
Yeah, 5-all.
5-all. And Sargent and Rebecca Kenner, 34-14 to Brandon Sargent at the moment.
In the first frame.
In the first frame.
Yeah. Yes, and then in the quarters, El Clasico.
Another classic battle. O'Sullivan Higgins.
Who could meet in the semis this year, by the way.
That would be something. That would be something. But I think Ronnie would have the edge over Higgins at the Crucible, possibly.
Not if you look at the stats. They've met 5 times and John won's 3 of them.
True, but I think, like we've been saying, I think Ronnie is up for this year.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, because I texted Kelly this morning and said, could they meet in the final? She said, no, they can only meet in the semi-final. So I'm pumped for that already. I just hope they don't lose in the first round.
That'll be a fantastic semi. I really look forward to that one.
Yeah. And then in the semi-final, John had his other class of 92 rival.
Did Mr. Mark Williams?
Yes. Who I've been watching for most of the day post Doherty and Walker, because MJT Snooker put the 99 final up him and Hendry.
Okay, yeah. We've just done a comment here. This is right from Michael Hager, I think. I believe Barry Hearn changed the ranking system in the 2010-11 season to the now familiar system where it is changed regularly throughout the season. For the first time, players in the top 16 at the start of that season were no longer guaranteed a place at the Crucible.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
That man has been encyclopedia.
Is it? I think he's going to come on here and shoot some questions at you, Scott, I think. Michael, I'm looking forward to this. Me and Mike will be looking forward to this.
Anyway, shall I give the session scores then?
Of course, the final, yeah.
4-all.
The referee was called, of course, Jan Verhaas.
Jan, yes. Who was the ref the year before?
Year before ref for the Dot and Robertson match was Aaron Williams.
Aaron Williams,
yeah.
Yeah, and then 4-all. 10-7 Trump overnight.
Yeah.
13-12 John. And John wins 18-15, needing a snooker in the final frame.
Yes. And he won 62-61 in that last frame.
He was marvellous.
Yeah. And also the century break. Higgins only had one though in that final. 130.
By the way, they could meet this year again in the final.
They could, yes. Wouldn't that be a fantastic final as well?
And not only that, but it would be the third time they've met in a Crucible final.
2019 and
Correct.
2011. Yeah.
I'm getting excited now. I need to calm down. They might all lose in the first round or something.
Or you think Ronnie will play Higgins. Ronnie will get into the final to meet John Trump. Just think about that.
Oh, don't. We've got to get through the qualifiers first.
I won't walk you taste bugs yet, Scott.
Oh dear.
Calm down, boy. Calm down. Yeah. So yeah, like I say, Higgins made one in that final, 113. Trump made three. Of his highest was 104 in 3 centuries. So, and he still lost the final.
Yeah.
Wow.
Had to have an experience there, I think.
Yeah, I think so as well. Televised stage, 74 centuries. So that was 14 more than the year before.
Yeah, and at that time, the second highest of all time.
Yeah, and 2 players got a 138. Who were they?
Ding Junhui and Mark King, was it?
Correct. Yeah, and they shared a prize fund of 10,000. So that was 5,000 each for them.
And then what did John and Judd get as winner and runner up?
250,000 for the winner and 125,000 for the runner up. Yeah.
Not bad for a fortnight's work.
No. Unfortunately, on the morning of the final day,
Ted Lowe died.
Passed away. Yeah, unfortunately.
He was 90.
He was, bless him. So
great commentator, Ted Lowe.
Wonderful. Jimmy Robertson and Andrew Paget, were debutants at the Crucible that year. Yeah. Anything else to come out of that? 5 out of the 16 seeded players lost in the first round.
Yeah.
Stephen Maguire, Neil Robertson, Ricky Walden, Marco Fu, and Peter Ebden. Ebden lost 10-8 to Stuart Bingham.
Oh, yes, Bingham was a qualifier in those days.
Oh, and Fu lost 10-8 to Martin Gould. Oh, dear.
Who did Martin Gould lose to in the second round then?
Martin Gould lost to Judd Trump, of course.
Oh, yes, so he did.
Yeah. So there you go. That's the 2011. Now, Scott, our year, 2012, the one that me and you went to, of course.
Just so we didn't go together, of course.
Yeah, we didn't. But the final.
Fond memories indeed, Greeley. Fond memories.
Fond memories. And if I'd have met you, Scott, the year before, well, actually. No, you were there the day before me, weren't you? You said that. Or the day after me.
I was there for Hendry and Higgins, dear me.
Yeah, and I was there for Day and Stevens.
Yeah.
So the final was O'Sullivan Carter that year, of course.
Yeah.
And I was a bit annoyed. I remember being annoyed because I was on that particular day. I went for the morning session. And if I was in the afternoon, I'd have seen Ronnie.
Against?
Robertson. That would have been perfect. That would, but
Well, here, can I just reminisce for a moment, sort of, because I've never really sort of fully told the story.
yeah, of course.
Well, my dad got the tickets for Christmas, so like even my school friends that hadn't a clue about snooker for about 2 weeks beforehand they were sick listening to me by the time I was actually going, I think.
Yeah. I remember going. My story to go in there was I was at part of a snooker club in Swadlincote, and they were saying, "Have you ever been to the Crucible?" No, no, and it was about August, September, and I said, "Well, I bet we're too late for next year. I bet we're too late now." And anyway, I looked online when I got home that night, and there were tickets going for the quarter-final. And I thought, how's that happened? So I managed to get in for that day against Day and Stevens.
Oh, that was superb. But I'll tell you what. We saw the second set of Hendry and Higgins, and it was awful.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't. Yeah, because Stephen won Higgins, of course, and then went on to play Maguire. And that's when I saw Hendry sit in his seat while the frames went up and up and up, and Maguire went about 7 or 8-0 up.
Yeah. I mean, but John was awful.
Yeah, I didn't see that match at all.
I mean, right. I don't mean to be indiscreet, but I think there was 150 break, and my father missed it because he went to the toilet during the interval and wasn't back in time.
Oh dear me! But no, by the score 13-4, it was that was horrendous for Hendry. For Higgins, sorry, that was horrendous.
At one stage, Hendry missed the yellow, and he missed the yellow with the ref, and his mouth just went. He was so shocked.
Oh dear me!
It was truly awful. But then on the Saturday afternoon, Dad and I got to see Hendry and Higgins, or the last frame, because it was 12-4 overnight, and Hendry won the last frame. But on the other table, O'Sullivan and Williams. So we had the four of the greatest players of all time, all playing in the same session. It was, well, if the snooker wasn't great, but the actual spectacle of seeing those four at once was brilliant.
Yeah, I bet that was wonderful. And also, when I was there with Day and Stevens, well, obviously Hendry and Maguire was on the other table, but when I got home, when Ryan Day made a century break, they panned the camera up to the top of where the Crucible, the seating area was, and there was I going, and I thought, oh my God, I'm on telly there.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Of course, there was a maximum break in the first round of that tournament. Hendry made it against Bingham.
That's right. Yeah, he did.
And trousered 50 grand.
I keep forgetting that was the tournament we went to when Hendry did that.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting.
And he retired, of course.
He did after that, yeah, when he lost to Maguire.
When he didn't lose, he got hammered.
He did. Michael Ager says, throughout the 2012 event, Ronnie won at least 6 frames in a row in the 4 matches up to the final. 6 in a row against Hebden, 9 in a row against Williams, 6 in a row against Robertson, and 6 in a row against Stevens. Wow. That is incredible. 6 in a row. That's like 6, 12, 21, 25, no, hang on, 21, 27, and 32, something like 33 frames in a row.
No, they weren't all consecutive, but
no,
at various stages.
And Kelvin said that he saw the maximum as well. He was there
You
for the
lucky devil. At least you saw a bit of decent snooker instead of
Not
that.
only the Scott, not only did he see the maximum, but he was there for the final as well.
You lucky devil.
Terrible. Don't talk to me in Scott about that.
You saw better snooker than my father did.
Oh dear. Well, when I left, Ryan Day was 5-3 up against Stevens after the first eight frames. Yeah. And Ryan Day had missed a simple red into the corner pocket. And Stevens cleared up to go 5-3 down. And Willie Thorne said in commentary, said that's a massive turning point. And it's proved to be because Ryan Day didn't win another frame.
He didn't. Anyway, shall we go through their routes then before we get lost in personal reminiscences?
Sorry, yes. I'll just give you some updates before we do that. That still first frame between Brandon Sargent and Rebecca Kennett is still going on, by the way. 48 points to 37, Brandon leads. Alan Taylor's still, 52 points to 50 down against Langning, still 0-0. And Dwayne Jones is 6-0 up in points, 0-0 in frames against Hayden Stanley. And Stephen Holworth has got the first frame against Dean Young, 1-0.
I assume McLeod has won then.
I think McLeod won 6-4, I think.
6-5 it was.
6-5. Yes, he might have done. I'll find out.
Yeah, we'll check that afterwards. But shall we go through these routes in 2012 then?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Carter's route then. Carter's route, we need.
Carter.
You got Carter there at all?
Let's have a look. That's. Yeah, I've got Carter. So in the first round, he beat Mark Davis 10-2.
Dear.
Second round, he beat Judd Trump 13-12. Then he beat Jamie Jones 13-11 in the quarters.
Yep.
And 17-12 against Maguire in the semis.
Yep. I'll do Ronnie then.
Okay.
Peter Ebdon 10-4.
Yeah. That was absolute drumming, that was.
I seem to remember the first frame of that match went to a re-spotted black.
It did. It did, yes. It did. I remember that. But there's so many things that happened in that year, Scott. I know we're personal reminiscing again, but there's so many things that happened in that tournament that we were actually at.
I know.
I mean, it's hard to believe it was. Sometimes it's hard to believe it was the same tournament.
It's hard to believe that was 9 years ago. That'll be 10 years next year, and I haven't been back since.
Well, we've got to go next year, haven't we? If we're allowed, if fans are back allowed next year, hopefully they are by then.
Yes,
we should go.
Yeah.
So Ronnie's route.
Peter Ebdon 10-4. Then Mark Williams 13-6. I saw the first session of
that. He absolutely killed Williams that year.
He did. Well, he kills Williams every time they play at the Crucible, really.
Well, yeah.
They played 5 times and Ronnie's won all of them. Then in the quarters, Robertson 13-10. You were on the wrong side of the arena for that.
I was. Yeah, I was. Definitely.
And then 17-10 over Stevens in the semis.
Yeah.
I seem to recall in the final session of that. Yeah, right. In the final session of that semi-final, it started off with 2 centuries.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. And Ali Carter got his Crohn's disease, but still beat Stephen Maguire 17-12. Yeah, he was. He had a lot of health problems, and he had a loss of form. He was threatening to retire, Ali Carter, and he still got through to the final.
Yes, he was marvelous.
Tremendous.
Marvelous. I think Calvin Plattern has said he's got the Rebecca Kenna match on his phone. He's watching darts on Sky, and he's listening to us on a tablet.
Good man, Calvin. Good man. Yeah, keep it going.
The first
Calvin.
year he went to the Crucible was 2003. Then in 04 and 05 he did 17 days. Then from 2009 up to 2019.
Wow. Okay. Just to let you know that Lang Ning has got the first frame against Alan Taylor.
Well, I don't care who comes through that as long as McManus beats either one of them.
Correct. Yeah, McManus has got to get through there, surely. Surely to goodness.
Come on, the Angles.
That's right. He's got to get through that. I mean, it's only Taylor, Langning, and Wollaston. I mean,
Wollaston could be a. That could be top playing Wollaston over 19 frames.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's got, like players like Hayden Stanland and Dwayne Jones and Daniel Wells and that Martin Gould.
Yeah.
That could be a stumbling block, Martin Gould, but
yeah. Michael Hager says decent break of 92 in the final. I'm going to get there in a moment. You know that?
Okay.
The 92 break in frame 7.
By the way, just to say that Rory McLeod now plays Anthony Hamilton.
Oh, that could take a while.
And we was talking last night, Scott. I don't know if you saw that, but in me and Mike's episode last night, saying that Hamilton could withdraw because of not having, because he felt unsafe last year, and that's why he withdrew from the tournament. But and if there's crowds there, he might not play. But as Kelly Papaka pointed out, he's had COVID, he's fine, and everyone's got tested now and stuff like that. So he should play. He should play. And I think he will. I think there's no reason why he should withdraw.
Yeah.
But
But
anyway, Michaela Tabb, by the way, was the referee for that final. Carter and Sullivan.
Session scores.
Yeah.
5-3 O'Sullivan.
Yeah.
Oh, Calvin Plattern says Rebecca's just won the first frame.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Sorry, we're sort of hovering between the past and the present here.
Yeah. Well, that is interesting, isn't it, Scott? That she's got the first frame over Brandon Sargent. That is quite interesting.
Although I think Rhiannon won the first against Andy Hicks yesterday.
Okay. Do you rate Kenna as a better, not as a better player than Evans, but do you think she's got a chance?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, session scores back to 5-3 to O'Sullivan.
Yeah, and in that seventh frame, Ronnie made the 92 break. And I mean, the balls, you'll remember, the balls were so awkward.
Yeah. He had to pull out some shots in that.
That was superb.
But Ronnie will always pull out the stops.
But I mean that break, I'm going to incur the wrath of a lot of older snooker fans here. But I'm going to say that break of 92 in frame 7 of that thing was, and I'll whisper it so that nobody hears me, it's better than Alex.
Oh dear. I'm not going to repeat what Scott just said there, by the way. No, but I tend to agree, but there's a lot can be said for it, though. I mean, that Alex is blue. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's carry on.
Yeah. And then, have you got the centuries numbers on the money and the high break and things?
Centuries in the final. O'Sullivan got 3, and his highest was 141.
Yeah.
And Carter got 1 at 105.
Yeah.
So the match time was 9 hours, by the way.
Well, 9 hours for 35 frames is not for many were played there 1811. So
not too bad. So yeah, the centuries that year we had 71.
Yeah. 71.
Yeah, and the highest was Stevens 147, of course. And the breakdown in money for that was £40,000 for the maximum break.
And then 10 for the high break, so that's 50 grand.
Yeah, 50 grand. And Ronnie that year received 250,000.
Yeah.
For winning it. Carter received £125,000 for finishing runner-up. So, and the debutants was Jamie Jones, Luca Brissell, and Kaio Yupeng.
Yes, Cho Yu-peng. I remember he won his first round match against Mark Allen. I don't know if you remember this one. Do you remember this?
Yes, when Mark Allen. That's another thing that happened in that tournament, Scott.
Yeah.
He potted the black, and then the white went in.
Oh, it was. As a Northern Irish fan, I was like, that was horrible.
It was because he potted the black. Mark Allen, of course, goes, come on, and the white drops in the.
And John Virgil, what a way to lose.
It was unfortunate. I felt for Mark Allen.
Michael Hager says, I believe 141 is the highest break in a final. That is correct. Now, today's trivia question, I'll give you the answer to yesterday's in a moment, but today's trivia question is who is the only other player to have made a 141 in a Crucible final? I'll reveal the answer tomorrow. Yesterday's answer.
Yeah.
Yesterday's answer to the question, who of his 4 world finals, in which one did John Higgins lose the most frames? The answer, 2011 when he won 18-15 against Trump.
Okay, that's cleared that up. Well, anything else got to add before we finish today?
Well, I'll repeat the question again. Who is the only other player to have made a 141 break in the Crucible final? And I'll give the answer tomorrow on the episode. Okie
dokie. I'm sure Michael Hager knows it now, by the way.
Yeah. Don't put it in, Michael.
No, it's Mark Wilcox agrees with you, Scott. Hamilton, by the way, Hamilton said on the Talking podcast, on the Talking Snooker podcast, that he would play at the Crucible if he qualified. There you go.
Yeah.
So there you go. Thank you, Michael Hager, for all your insight. And I'd like to say thank you for everybody who gets involved and comments on our shows. It's very much appreciated.
It is.
So, we should be back. Well, we will be back tomorrow night with some more World Championship qualifiers results and finals 2013 to 2016.
Yeah, we'll do 13 to 16, yes.
And then we're very much closer to getting to last year's final. And then we're on for the. It's nearly here, Scott. It's nearly here.
I can't believe it. But one thing I will say, Graham, it's going to be terribly hard work for us.
Oh, incredible hard work. Yeah, sitting back, watching World Championship snooker and reporting on it. It's great. It's going to be tremendous hard work.
No, but it'll be hard work in the sense of keeping up with it all.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be fine. I'm sure we'll be all right. And
especially if Doherty or Walker qualify.
Yeah, but I think, by the way, Figueiredo, we beat a Jabby 6-0, and that's the walkover.
Well,
I'm just thinking if there was any more. Just looking if there was another 6-0. Yeah,
no.
Jamie Wilson beat Barry Pinch's 6-0.
Well, that was yesterday.
Yeah, that was the other one. But there we go. Well, thank you very much tonight, Scott. Good episode.
Thank you very much, Graham.
No problem at all. And we'll be back tomorrow night. Hopefully all three of us, but we will find that out in due course, of course.
Yeah. Good night.
Good night. Thanks, Scott.